What's going on, guys? Matt over here with Lethal Camaro, and today I want to talk about a subject that I think a lot of people think about or wonder about when upgrading their car. Is it worth it? As you guys know, I have a 2016 Camaro 2SS. I bought it right when the new 6th gen body style came out. Z01s didn't exist, 1LEs were not a thing. It was basically the LTs, the SSs, and that's it. Now, when I bought this car, I had saved up my money for a very long time. I always wanted a fully loaded SS. I knew at the time I could not afford a Z01 for at least what their prices were at that time, just because of where I was at in life. And sure, I could have probably saved up a couple more months or another 6 months and been able to afford a 5th gen ZL1, but why would have I bought that car instead of the 6th gen when the 6th gen was almost as fast as the 5th gen Z01 that had, you know, a lot more power versus the new platform and all the bells and whistles, whatever. So I decided to go down the road of upgrading my car. Now, I always get asked, like, would you do it again? Is it worth it? If you could do it all over, would you buy a ZL1 to start with? Probably at this point, I would say yes. Like, if the ZL1 was available, I probably would have just saved my money and got the ZL1 and then worked up from there. Would it be as fulfilling at the end of the day? I don't think so. I think going the route that I did, I feel a lot more attached to my car. I feel like the build is unique, it's my own, and the things that I decided to do with it are definitely, you know, not something that everyone's doing. I mean, I'm sure there's a couple people out there now that have same thing that I have on my car, but it's been a trip. So let's go through the power adders and what I think about them. So the first thing I did, and if you guys have been following the channel for any length of time, you'll know that I didn't do everything in one foul sweep. I wanted to do videos and talk about how it changed the vehicle at each different stage of each mod. So when I first got the car, I started doing bolt-ons. I got a Rotofab cold air intake. I did ported intake manifold, ported throttle body. I did full catback exhaust. Initially, I did our CA performance test pipes on my car, which basically deleted the cats off the stock manifolds or shorty headers or whatever you want to call them. Yeah, the car sounded great. It drove great. It had additional power. I was running the Vitesse throttle controller because I had not tuned my vehicle at all. And I didn't realize how much low-end torque I lost by adding the CA performance pipes without getting a tune. But I started seeing numbers, and my car went down for an initial dyno testing, and I saw it down low. The torque was hit pretty hard, but up high, the torque is where it saw the gains. So without that tune, you lose some power down low, but you get it back in the high-end RPM range. So after all those upgrades, I mean, I was feeling really good, but I knew I was going to fully build my car. I was really just doing what I could do to the car, and I did a lot of the things to my car for videos and reviews, like the CA test pipes and all the different cold air intakes. If you guys didn't see all those install guides, there's a ton of them. But the next upgrade, I wanted a cam. I wanted that lope. I wanted that sound. I wanted that old school V8 style rumble. And I got it. And so I went to Cunningham Motorsports. They gave me their custom gride cam. Now, I knew I was going to do force induction, so I decided to go down the path of a force induction cam instead of an NA cam. And just that cam alone, the power it added initially was pretty good, and I did E85 at the same time. So with the combination of the cam and the E85, it was really good, but the cam really wasn't going to show its real colors until the Supercharger was on. So, but I did get the sound, I did get the lope that I wanted. I got it all of that. It was worth it to me. Now, if you go down the path of not doing a Supercharger and you get an NA cam, you'll get a ton of power up front. Well, you'll get a ton of power when the cam is installed. With E85, it's just a really great bang for your buck. Now, if you want to know someone who did something just like that, Trey Smooth, our friend Trey, which you've probably seen in a couple of my videos, he actually has a white Camaro just like mine in a sense, and he did the MSD, he did an NA cam, he did E85, all that, and his car is all motor, freaking, it's a nice car and it's got power. So if I didn't do a supercharger, I probably would have went that way, and then I probably just would have forged and got heads, and I don't even know, probably would have done other things. But in this instance, I felt the cam and all that stuff was definitely worth the price of admission. It got me the sound, it got me the power I wanted, it got me to that next level. Now, when I got the ProCharger put on, it was a huge jump. It was a massive jump in power. Now, in regards to the cam was pretty expensive to do, but for me, getting the sound and the feeling that the cam was providing, it was worth the cost. Would I do it again? Yes. Was it expensive? Yes. But keep in mind, these cars have the active fuel management. Keep in mind, have the automatic. Even if you have a manual, there are parts and pieces on your motor that tie to AFM that they will have to delete. So there's a few extra parts and pieces that they have to buy, versus like the LS3 days where those cars were super cheap to cam because there wasn't much to it. But in this instance, it's expensive on the LT ones. So, and just overall, the 6th gen Camaro is not as cheap to upgrade as the 5th gen was, or older models. But fast forwarding, force induction, put the supercharger on, and if you guys didn't see my reaction video, I'll put videos to all my reaction videos with the cam and the supercharger in the right hand corner, just, or whatever side that is. Just click the little the eye or the info icon and you can see those videos. But the supercharger probably put the biggest smile on my face. It was the biggest horsepower gain that I felt in the car. You know, we went from 430, 440 to 615 range, so it was a huge increase in power. But again, it was an expensive upgrade. Now, keep in mind, I bought my ProCharger used, so I did save a few bucks on the unit itself. I paid for install and all that stuff, but I still think for the cost, it was the best bang for your buck upgrade if you're planning on doing anything. And I think I would almost flip around backwards and do it differently, where if I could kind of step back and redo it all, I would have got my SS, I would have put the ProCharger on, and then start doing all the other things. Well, at least the ProCharger headers with full exhaust, at least that way the car was completely plumbed and breathing properly versus not. So that's what I probably would have done if I could redo it, and then I would have added the cam, because it would have been interesting to see what it would have been like to have my car be like a sleeper car, because with just the ProCharger on there and the exhaust, you know, it would sound like a normal exhaust car, but the cam really adds something to it that really makes people look like, oh crap, what the heck is that? So if I could redo that, I probably would. I would have just flipped the way I did it, but at the end of the day, I'm happy I did it the way I did, so that way I could see the progression of what a cam does, what the supercharger does, and then what the supercharger does in relation to the cam, because a lot of power came from that. Because typically, the supercharger, these ProChargers, this is a P1 unit, so it's the smallest one. It'll add about 100 horsepower to the tires, maybe a little more, plus or minus, depending on the tune. But the cam itself brought in, you know, on top of the power it initially brought in like another 60 plus horsepower. So that's just phenomenal. So I can't complain about that at all. But, you know, and there's been miscellaneous other upgrades I've done that aren't performance. Like, I cleaned up my engine bay. I put a lot of plates and stuff on there to make it look clean. I did the carbon fiber, worked with Cali Tints on this. Cali Tints also did my fuel covers, which also are carbon fiber. Looks really clean. Got the Mishimoto expansion tank replaced, just because I could not stand that plastic thing with pink fluid in it all the time. But I think the motor now looks really good. I'm in a really good spot. But now it's time for the final upgrades. And my car, I know people are like, you're never done with your car, you're always upgrading it, you'll never be finished. And in this instance, I will be finished. So I'm doing the full forged bottom end, so we can put all the timing back in the world back in the vehicle, and to kind of not necessarily guarantee myself I don't grenade my motor, but just feel a little bit better about not being able to grenade my motor just by putting stronger parts in there to support the higher power. We are upgrading to mostly the LT4 fuel system on the vehicle, so we can go back to E85 and get about another 100 plus horsepower out of the vehicle. With the added timing and the fuel, I'm expecting to be 725, maybe 730 range. We'll see. I know there's been comments that the fuel system, even the LT4, gets maxed out in the 700 range, so we'll see what my upgraded system allows. Cunningham Motorsports is doing a custom drop-in setup for the rear, for the low side, so we'll see how that all works and how it pans out in the long run. Again, September 18th is when my car goes in, and I'm expecting to get the car back probably a week later. So full forged bottom end, fuel system. I am putting new axles on the car. I did finally get my ZL1 seats, and those arrive next week. And then on top of that, the last item that I'll probably do to the car is the brakes. Now, if I'm going to do anything else, it's going to be stylistic changes. There's a few things that I like a little bit more now than I did in the past. And then on top of that, potentially more cooling mods, so I could do full road course all day versus probably only being able to do a couple laps and then needing the car some time to cool off. So that's the only downside here, is I haven't really gone down the road of crazy cooling upgrades. So that's where I'm at currently. That's where the car's at. Those are the performance mods. As you guys could tell in the conversation, I don't regret anything. I think all of the mods I did were worth it. I think all of the mods, depending what you want, like if you just want an all NA car, get it cammed, get a good exhaust, get headers. It's going to be great. You're going to love it. And if you can do 85 based on your location, even better. That's another guaranteed 40 horsepower. And if you're going to tune your car anyways, it's $350. Like, you can't go wrong with that upgrade. So outside of that, I've felt everything I've done with my car is what I've wanted. I think at each individual stage, depending on who you are and what you want from your build, can be worthwhile. If you want to go a full NA cam, do the full exhaust, all that stuff, you're gonna have an amazing car. If you want to just go a bolt-on supercharger that you can take off at the end of the day, maybe you're not planning on keeping the car, that is also a great way to go. That's an instant 100+ horsepower, depending on the tune, that you wouldn't have had. And then with supporting mods, you could probably even get a little bit more than that. So you can get like full exhaust and all that stuff, and you know, being the 120+ to the tire increase, you know, that's a 500+ horsepower car. Nothing to scoff at all. That's a beautiful, fun car to drive on the weekends. So in my instance, I'm just going all out, spending all the monies, and just getting as much power as I can, and still hoping to retain traction. We'll see if that actually happens. So either or, let me know what you guys think. What are you doing to your builds? What have you done to your builds? What do you want to do to your builds? What do you guys think of my build? Do you guys think it's coming along? Do you think there's something I've done that you wouldn't have done? I'd just love to know why. Let's have a conversation about it down below in the comments. If you guys enjoyed this content and conversation, hit that subscribe button. Likes, comments, and shares are appreciated. Check out Lethal Garage swag down below. And also, if you guys didn't know, I am now an official AMSOIL dealer. Not because I'm trying to sell product to all of you guys, but mainly because I wanted to save money. Becoming a dealer gave me the best option to do so. And I was like, hey, you know what? If people want to get good oil, AMSOIL, I use the synthetic Z-Rod. Or you can just, if you don't have modifications to your car, they have their Signature or XL or OE series oil. But I can get it to you at the best price possible. So hit me up. If you guys have any questions, there's a link down below to Lethal Garage Synthetics, and you can read all about it and check it out. But basically, it's you getting oil through AMSOIL's website, just through my links, at a cheaper price. You can't go wrong. So hit me up if you're interested. But as always, guys, thanks for watching this video, and until next time, hope to see you on the road.